In this video of BobCAM for SOLIDWORKS, we will be discussing the feeds and speeds and how they operate in the software, how to add custom feeds and speeds, as well as how to customize current materials in the material library. The feeds and speeds in the BobCAM are calculated off of a material file. The material file is specified through the selection of the material for the current job that is being used. To view or modify the materials in the BobCAM software, you will need to navigate to the BobCAM CAM tree tab. So, in your SOLIDWORKS, navigate to the Feature Manager and select the BobCAM CAM tree tab. In the BobCAM CAM tree tab, there are two methods of accessing the feeds and speeds. The first method is to expand CAM part and right-click Milling Tools, hover over Default, and then select the stock material library. The other method of access is expanding milling stock and right-clicking on the material itself. In this case, we will right-click on Milling Tools, hover over Default, and then click Stock Material Library. In this window, there are many feeds and speeds that are provided in the software. These feeds and speeds are calculated off of the Machinist Handbook and a software called Machinist Toolbox. These feeds and speeds are very close to what they need to be set to. What you may find is you may need to alter the feed and speed so that it operates correctly for your machine. The feed and speed may need to be altered according to your tooling, your material that you are cutting, the rigidity of your machine, and lastly, your maximum spindle speed. Therefore, the settings in this window are a very good start to your cutting conditions. However, they may need to be tailored to your specific needs. It is very important when running a program for the first time to check the feeds and speeds that are being used to be certain that they will work correctly for your machine and tooling that are selected. First, we will take a look at our tool steel. As you can see, there are many different types of tool steels in the software with their respective numbers. We can, in this window, specify that one of them is the default of the software, as well as move one of them to the favorites. When the Move to Favorites option is clicked, it will move the cutting condition itself to a favorites folder that the software creates. When I select the Tool Steel A6 Air Hardening and click Move to Favorites, it will create a favorites folder. Considering how many materials are in the BobCAM software, you may want to move some select materials that you are using most often to the favorites folder. If, for instance, we were to go into the aluminum folder and we were to select all of these though and click Move to Favorites for each aluminum cutting condition, it will move all of the files into the favorites. Therefore, this category will be blank. We will add another one to favorites. We'll click the Cast Aluminum 201 T6 and click Move to Favorites, and that moves it to favorites. Now, under Material Group, click Favorites, and as you can see, we have two files that we move to favorites under our favorites category. Now, to modify one of the materials, select the material that you would like to modify and click Modify Material. As you can see in this window, there are several different tool materials: carbide, insert, and high-speed steel. You can add additional tool materials or delete tool materials. These tool materials are selectable when you create or modify your tool. These feeds and speeds are customizable according to whether carbide is selected, insert is selected, or high-speed steel is selected. Or, if we were to have an additional tool material, we can customize that one as well. So if you have custom surface speeds or chip loads, you are able to customize it in this window. To customize by a specific tool, you will need to select the Customize Feeds and Speeds based on tool type and operation. When you select this checkbox, you are able to modify each tool's output for its feed and speed. If you deselect this checkbox, you will lose that information. The feeds and speeds are calculated by a per-tooth cut amount that pulls information from the diameter and the number of flutes that are being used for that specific tool. In this window, we have the ability to specify our surface feet a minute. This is a number that is calculated by tooth. We also have our tapping, chip load per flute, and our plunge chip load. If you are not sure of the particular information for your tools, the BobCAM software offers a good basis to get started with. If necessary, you can call your tooling distributor, or if you have the information, you can enter it here as well. If we wanted to add a new material to the database, we simply exit this window by clicking OK or Cancel, and then we click Add Material in the proper window. In this case, we will add it to our Favorites folder. We'll say that it is a custom material. With the material named, we can now enter whether or not there are custom feeds and speeds by operation, or if there is a custom surface feet a minute, tapping, chip load per flute, or plunge chip load. Once all of the information is entered, we can add a new material, rename this tool material. Once everything's done, simply click OK, and this tool material becomes available to you. Once everything has been set, to set the material for the current part, select OK in this window. The second way to navigate into the material library is by expanding milling stock and then right-clicking on the material under milling stock. When you right-click, you will click Edit, and then we can navigate to our favorites, and we can select the custom material, the tool steel, the cast aluminum, or any of the other materials that are created in the software. We can also add additional materials in this window, modify those materials, and delete those materials as well. If you were working with a prior version of the BobCAM software, you can also import cutting conditions into the current BobCAM software. Once you have specified what material you would like to use, by selecting it, simply click OK, and the material has been specified. Again, in the BobCAM software, in order to specify the feed and speed, the two access points are via the milling tools or right-clicking on the material under milling stock. The materials themselves are a good starting point, and you should be able to select one of the materials and just get started with working with your software. In this window, it is also possible to save out your material library and move it to another computer. You may also want to save your material library as you progress with the software so that you do not lose all of the settings that you have set in the software for your cutting conditions. This concludes this video.